Hi, welcome to class. We're the only two right now, but the other ones will show up eventually, right? I hate my life. I hate my life.
And Professor Sunreis Productions!
Hello class, Professor Sunreis here. In today's class, we're finally taking a look at an updated deck profile of my Bystial Dragon Link deck, which I've been testing in the new format for quite a while now, like basically ever since the Banlist dropped, and I finally feel confident enough to showcase you guys what I was thinking about. So, without further ado, don't forget to like and subscribe, leave some feedback down in the comment section below, and before we get into the video, please, if you have any cool replays of the new format, definitely send them to me to the email down in the description as well, and let's get right into the video. So, before we go into the card by card, quickly let's go over why I am playing 60 cards over 40, or like close to 40. There are multiple reasons for that. First of all, Dragon Links, the engine itself, plays way better at 60, at least in my opinion, because we can just fill up our deck with all of the cards we really want to get to anyways, like with more Bystials, more Rockets, stuff like that. And because we have such a very strong card in Dragon Ravine, in a very nice loop with the Bystials, with Sayford, with Rocket Access, etc., etc., we are still very consistent to getting to where we want to be. Add to that we are playing quite a few amount of one-offs and stuff which we generally don't really want to draw, but are like really strong in like a turn 3. Think of stuff like Levy, or think of stuff like Boot Sector, which you really don't want to draw. So in 60, we can still play these, but we don't draw them nearly as often if we have a very nice ratio of starters to non-engine, of course, which is the third reason why this, I think at least, is a very good call. The 60 card version has a way better ratio between engine and non-engine, where I still have more starters relative to when I would be at 40, and I have more non-engine to where I would be at like 40 or close to 40. And with non-engine not being that great this format, at least in my opinion, like it's not nearly as impactful as the drill was last format. I think this is a very good call, and the result showed, and even last format I had a very good time with non-engine being even better. Well, it was before the super heavy samurai stuff, but even then the deck performed quite well, and at least the engine itself is like very strong in this version. So let's get into the card by card. Of course, for the Bystials, pretty standard. We have 3 of all of the good ones, which get us to the engine. And then we have the one-offs and Drew's Worm and Boldrake. I would like to play more of those in the main deck, but it's not worth it for the main. But I do side more just because they're very good disruptive tools and very good engine pieces into certain matchups. And with Bystials becoming even more popular, I also want to just play more Bystials to counter the opponent's Bystial, because once the opponent also has a few Bystials, you really have to chew those first before you can even start to hit their main engine. And just having more Bystials for that helps with that. And then 1 regained, 1 branded beast. I thought about playing 2 branded regained again, but someone just kept breaking me, and you don't really miss it all too often. It's just nice to have when going first. But so overall, I just cut it out because it kept breaking me going second. That's the Bystial package. For the Chaos stuff, best cards in the deck, Sayford, Chaos Base. Chaos Base is less good now, and also a reason why I like the 60. Because this is very Ash susceptible. So just having this more often kind of makes you lose to Ash more often, because we don't have Gamma anymore. So this is just a very nice card to have, of course, but we don't want to rely on it too much. I don't know if it even makes sense, but it feels cleaner, and we don't die to just a single hand trip all too often, because we don't rely on Chaos Base being our best card. And then, of course, we have the White Dragon, Black Dragon, the Chaos Emperor, and the Dragon Lavinia. I mean, these are self-explanatory. Levy also is pretty standard, though I'm not too happy with it, but it is fine, and it's a very good utility card. Chaos Emperor Dragon is a reason to play 60, in my opinion. This card is so insane in a turn 3 and makes you basically play Bystial Control next to all of the Dragon Link stuff anyways. In my opinion, this is where most of the power of Dragon Bystial Control was hidden. And being able to play this and fit it into a 60 card version is insane, because after that, like after turn 2 or turn 3, we just start to play Bystial Control, where we summon like 2 to 3 Bystials every turn, plus this, plus we can do like rocket plays with Synchros, with Disparta, and it just makes the deck work so well. It does have the ability to Riku though going first, but you can salvage this card somehow, especially with more Bystials being relevant. This is also a very decent card to punish the opponent's Bystial, because then you can add back the banished dragon, which like they banished with their Bystial. So I really like this card, and it answers a lot of problems the deck has. Then for the rocket stuff, because of Disparta, I value the rocket engine way higher than I did in like past formats. So I actually max out on all of them, like 3 quick launch, 3 tracer, just those that I can see this. Thanks to Disparta, like having tracer plus Bystial is like a really solid play already going second, and they're just a very, very high value normal summons actually, and quick launch is insane. Then I play a Caliber for having the ability to go for like the Disparta Savage end board, a Recharger, Abs the Router, and then Ravine plus Boot Sector. Without Ogre being in the format at all and less roll, I really think Ravine is the way to go again. It was, in my opinion, the correct call not to do it last format, and the deck suffered from it, like just from a consistency standpoint. So having a Ravine again is nice, of course. Add to that Abs the Router with a lot of rocket stuff. With Save It, with Chaos Space, we have a lot of ways to get this alive, so this is like a very solid card. Having the ability to summon this off a tomb is insane, because then you can use Lebellion to tribute it, so you have a monster for Lebellion plus Rocket Engine. Overall, like a really solid one-off in this deck. Now for more normal summons, because we are up on 60 again, of course, we have Bleak Back Metal and 1 Red Eyes. No reason to play more of those, in my opinion. Even though this is not once per turn, so you can get like a free one out of there, but it's just too bricky. This is just a really solid normal summon, which we want because we are playing 60. This is very nice in grind games, or like in very set up graveyards, because you can revive anything, but other than that, this is like a very nice consistency tool. The levels don't really match for like any synchro plays, so we only really go into Dark and Ravine with it. All of the other plays lets us go into the synchros, which you want more, but it is fine. Then something which is not too clean, but I play 3 Small World, and it's definitely not as clean as in Mathmech, but this is a very solid card in this deck. It acts like extra copies of the best cards you have in Seyfried and Lebellion, because a lot of the Small World bridges go down to that, because you can go like Dark Dragon, Light Dragon, Dark Dragon to get into dark things, but you can use like all of the hand traps and weirder stuff to go into your light things. So you really like that, but more importantly, this is a card to go second with as well, and to punish the opponent's Bystials, because once your Bystials like fizzled, because the opponent changed a Bystial to that, Small World is a free stuff card with that, giving you huge tempo, which you really need to keep up into the Bystials, and it also searches you a Kaiju, resist an auto win against Kashira. So this is like a very high tempo card, which does go through a lot of our hands, but the tempo it gives you with Kashira, with like recycling Bystials and stuff like that, is like really good. And then 2 Noctivision as the last dragons. They are some nice lines with Small World and Noctivision, but honestly it's just a very generic extender, which is really solid, and I'd like to play 3 of this actually, because it gives you just so much value going first, just the space issue, so like you cannot play more. And then we have NonEngine. Of course, the 3 Small Worlds were already NonEngine, because they search a Kaiju monster. But we have 3 Ash. It's very impactful against a lot of matchups, like Branded Labyrinth, but also like very generically applicable. It's really good going first with our end board, so I really want to have it. And then 3 Imperm, this is just generically always decent. It's not even low impact, sometimes even high impact, like hitting Appaloozas, but also like hitting Alubas, like basically everything you can hit with it. So it's really good to have in the main deck. It's in a Rise Out Art as well. 3 Book of Moon, it's insane going first, and it's in a Rise Out Art going second, and it can deal like 1-for-1 trades with like Barone and stuff like that. So it's like a really solid tool. 3 Talents, this is not as good going first, unless you get Bystial, which then it becomes like the best card to have. Going second, it's very generically applicable, which is all I wanted in my NonEngine. I wanted to them for basically always be alive in game 1, unless I'm playing against like a very weird deck. So that I just have the best mileage in game 1s, because we are playing 60 cards, so we don't really want to have the high impact stuff. We just always want our NonEngine to be alive, basically. Then we have 3 Dark Ruler. These are not alive going first, but it's just way too good right now to not to play. And we are playing the Ravine package, of course, so we do have the ability to just discard 1. So it is fine to have them going first as well, because they're so strong, inherently going second. Then lastly, I play 1 Veiler, because of Small World bridges, and it's a decent it's a decent hand trap. Though I was playing 3 before, and I just cut down completely, because while it is a good Small World bridge, as a hand trap, it's not all too impactful right now, but it is fine. And then lastly, we have 1 Santa Claus. We play this over Kaijus, because it is a light level 6, so you can really easily get into this via Light Dragons and via Bystials. So it's really solid for that. Now for the extra deck. Extra deck is pretty standard. There's nothing really you can do in the extra deck, in my opinion, to be fancy, because you play Striker, Romulus, then we play 2 Seal. Pretty standard. You cannot play less than 2 Seal. Pisty, Triple Burst, and Borderland. You don't really go into those too often, but Borderland is just way too strong not to play. Dark, Unicorn, and Access Code to force back row, and Access Code is just an OTK machine. Dark also searches Levy. pretty standard. You could cut the Unicorn because we do have a Link 3 and Triple Burst, and you probably won't be needing 2 of those. Unicorn is just too impactful with back row decks being in the format, and I think you want to have it, though I would be liking to have a Masquerena as well. The problem only becomes then, if you don't have Unicorn, the Masquerena doesn't really do anything. So we just play the Unicorn. Then lastly for Synchros, we have Savage, of course pretty standard. Dispada, this card is insane in not standard combos, but if you have everything, or like if you play into a board, this card is insane. Same as Chaos Angel, broken auto win card against certain matchups, and just a really solid tool going second. Baron, you make this less with these 2 being there, but it's still a very solid card, especially against back row. So if Chaos Angel doesn't really cut it against the back row deck, for example, you just make the Baron. And then like very simplified game states against decks which have an out to Angel, you make this. And then lastly, Monotune, because we play so many Bystials, this card can just auto win us certain matchups, or like certain games where we have like a lot of Bystials. So for the side deck, a similar approach to in the main deck, we wanted to have really generic cards, which can also be very high impactful against certain matchups in the meta. So we have 3 costing for that. This card is insane against Labyrinth, it's insane against Runic variants. So overall, like a really solid pick. Also, like against random Sky Striker decks, which like pick up a lot of popularity up, this card is really solid. Then we have 3 Book of Eclipse. This is also a really solid card against a lot of like mid-rangey decks. For example, think like Sword Soul or sometimes even Sprite if they don't have the carrot up, or if we have like another card. So this can be very good. It's also really high impactful against Kashtira. We can cite this for going first as well if we want to cite like our Dark Rune and we are playing against Kashtira, for example. So this is also like a very generic but also high impactful into certain matchups side deck card. Same as these, very generic but can be really high impactful. 2 Jerusalem, 1 Boldrake. I sadly cannot fit the second Boldrake. I'd like to play post side if Bystials are alive. All of them, just because they're so crazy good, especially because we are playing a Tomb. 3 Kaijus. This is like, because Kashtira is still very popular, we just have to play them, and we don't play Santa Claus because Kaijus are actually better to draw. Santa Claus is easier to get through with Small World, but Kaijus are better with Chaos Base and multiples, so I'd rather draw these. And then lastly, we have 3 Ghost Bells, similar to like Cosmic. This is just a very high impactful card against Labyrinth, against Runic, stuff like that, which our main deck is a little lacking for, because Bystials are so strong, and we can handle these matchups with some dead cards because Bystials are so good. But post side, we definitely want to have a lot against them. So together with the Bystials, I actually have 9 slots for like these Labyrinth, back row decks, whatever. And it's just also against like random decks like Math Mech, you know it. It's very generic, but it also can be very high impactful, which is all we want to have with our non-engine. So that's basically it with the profile. I hope you guys are as excited about the new format as I am. I think Dragons are in a very good spot if you prepare your deck accordingly and know how to play against Bystials themselves. Because they can be quite hard, but you can definitely handle them, especially if you prepare for them. Hope you guys enjoyed today's class. Class is dismissed. You guys are free to leave. Professor Sunreis out. Peace.